Whoa, what the fuck is this? Need some damn music. Bây giờ đây trên vòng tay như sườn tôi người mắt môi và nhớ mùa tuyết rơi yên thôi 2 giờ đêm trôi. Like BG Hawk, right up. Like BG Hawk, right up. Lần này thì anh chịu thua em rồi, em bỏ anh đi ngày xưa em rồi. Giờ đã mang anh cho tôi một người đã không thể buông. I told you that never leave me alone. Lần này thì anh chịu thua em rồi, chẳng có cơ hội nào nữa em ơi. Dã man em cũng yêu anh nhiều. I told you that never leave me alone. Và giờ bức tranh ta vẽ thì nó cũng đã nhập vai. Tại sao không nói luôn đi, bây giờ em đang cần ai. Không phải anh nó vậy đi, nếu như đã không thành đôi đây thôi. Vậy giờ bọn mình cũng đã yêu nhau xong rồi, đã từng là một tình yêu đẹp nhất trên đời. Lần này thì anh chịu thua em rồi, em bỏ anh đi ngày xưa em rồi. Giờ đã mang anh cho tôi một người đã không thể buông. I told you that never leave me alone. Lần này thì anh chịu thua em rồi, chẳng có cơ hội nào nữa em ơi. Dã man em cũng yêu anh nhiều. I told you that never leave. Trái tim mưa sao đâu thế, nói buông nhưng mà đâu dễ, không ăn cơ hội đâu bé. Oh yeah, baby I do so bad. Kết cục vẫn vậy đâu khác, thêm một vài nhà sâu sắc. How I feel about love, no cap.
ơi.
Bây giờ đừng lý do nữa nhá. Lý do là chơi game à? Nếu không mình phải nghỉ học ở làm nít đấy.
Thế là
Mẹ cũng sợ là không có đủ ấy đâu. Mẹ tưởng con quyết tâm nữa. Con dành thời gian để con chơi game.
thế mà con không học.
Không học nên con có những thời gian khác. Mẹ còn làm thêm đến khuya để mẹ muốn để dành tiền cho con việc. Không phải đi làm chấp nhận những cái chỗ như này để có tiền cho con đi học. Con chẳng nghĩ gì thế này.
Con đang học đây này.
Nên tôi đang học nhưng có những lúc chơi game sau đêm suốt sáng sao lại thế nhỉ? Các mình lại có quyền cho mình như thế trong khi nhà cảnh đang khó khăn như này mình phải phấn đấu lên. Cả nhà mẹ làm bục mặt ra. Tạo điều kiện hết mức cho cả đi học tiếng Trung như để ấy. Cũng không đi.
thua. Tự nhiên công ty công nghệ xét The fuck? Những cặc gì ấy.
Scala and the C language. Maybe some of you have heard of them. I have more than 14 years of professional experience in the IT industry, ranging from building software systems, enterprise application integration systems, service-oriented architecture and VPN systems, and lastly, I specialize in solution architecture and cognitive systems. So it's a very interesting journey, and I hope that I can give you some of the concepts that I have learned through all these long paths. So, in our course, we will explore the IBM Watson platform and all the capabilities that it gives us in order to include it in our application for solving complex problems, for understanding our customers, and for doing our next great app application.
Nó cặc gì ấy.
So, what we will learn in this course? In this course, we have 6 sections.
This is a defining moment. Generative AI has arrived, creating a once-in-a-generation opportunity for business. Meet IBM Watson X, an enterprise-ready AI and data platform in 3 parts to help you train, tune, and deploy AI models, scale workloads wherever your data resides, and design more trustworthy AI workflows. WatsonX.ai is our studio for AI builders to help you create powerful AI applications in a fraction of the time with a fraction of the data. Start with IBM's foundation models or thousands of open source models from the Hugging Face library and instantly begin working in our prompt lab. And with the ability to add your own data, you can train, tune, and deploy generative AI and machine learning models with ease. WatsonX.data is IBM's next-generation data store. Based on an open lakehouse architecture, it brings together the flexibility of a data lake with the performance of a data warehouse to help you scale AI and analytics wherever your data resides. And WatsonX.governance is a powerful toolkit for AI governance to help you bring light to the black box, trace processes so you can explain your AI's decisions, monitor models for fairness, bias, and drift, and scale responsibly based on principles of transparency and trust. We are in a moment, and to meet it with confidence, you need AI that's built for business.
We're selling websites on autopilot, and it completely changes the way agencies do business. If you adopt a product-based approach to
AI-generated art, AI-generated songs, AI, what is that? It sure is a lot of fun. But when foundation models are applied to big business, well, you need to think bigger. Because AI in business needs to be held to a higher standard. Built to be trusted, secured, and adaptable. This isn't simple automation that is only trained to do one thing. This is AI that is built and focused to work across your organization. This isn't committing to a single system. This is hybrid-ready AI that can scale across your systems. This isn't wondering where an answer came from. This is AI that can show its work. When you build AI into the core of your business, you can go so much further. This is more than AI. This is AI for business.
Watson X is our new integrated data and AI platform. It consists of three primary parts. First, WatsonX.data. It is our massive curated data repository that is ready to be tapped to train and fine-tune models with state-of-the-art data management system. WatsonX.ai. This is an enterprise studio to train, validate, tune, and deploy traditional machine learning and foundation models that provide generative capabilities. And WatsonX.governance. This is a powerful set of tools to ensure your AI is executing responsibly. WatsonX.data, WatsonX.ai, WatsonX.governance. They work together seamlessly.
Hybrid-ready AI that can show. This is more than AI. This is AI for business.
WatsonX is our new integrated data and AI platform. It consists of three primary parts. First, WatsonX.data. It is our massive curated data repository that is ready to be tapped to train and fine-tune models with state-of-the-art data management system. WatsonX.ai. This is an enterprise studio to train, validate, tune, and deploy traditional machine learning and foundation models that provide generative capabilities. And WatsonX.governance. This is a powerful set of tools to ensure your AI is executing responsibly. WatsonX.data, WatsonX.ai, WatsonX.governance. They work together seamlessly throughout the entire life cycle of foundation models. And true to our commitment to hybrid cloud architectures, WatsonX is built on top of Red Hat OpenShift. Not only does it provide seamless integration of WatsonX components, it allows you to access and deploy your AI workloads in any IT environment, no matter where they are located. So say you're a data scientist and want to access the data that is in a public cloud, some that is on-prem, some that may be in another external database, or on a public cloud, a second one, or anywhere else outside your hybrid cloud platform. So you access the platform from your laptop and invoke WatsonX.data. It establishes the necessary connections between the data sources so you can access the data easily. We've been building our IBM data pile, combining raw data collected from public sources with IBM proprietary data. We're bringing data from different domains: the internet, code, academic sources, enterprise, and more. We have used WatsonX.data to collect petabytes of data across dozens of domains to produce trillions of tokens that we can use to train foundation models. And besides the raw data and our proprietary data, we allow clients to bring their own data to enrich and improve their purpose-built foundation models. It is all stored in .data, with granular metadata that provides traceable governance for each file or document. So now we take this and we move to filter and process the data. First, we identify the provenance and the ID of the data. Then we need to categorize it. We classify it, for example, in a pile for different languages, let's say English, Spanish, German, and so on. a pile of code data that we then separate by programming language, Java, Ansible, COBOL, and so on, and any other category that we have. Now, we filter it. We do analytics and get rid of duplicated data. Now we identify hate, abuse, and profanity in the data, and we remove it. We filter it for private information, licensing constraints, and data quality. By annotating, we allow data scientists to determine the right thresholds for their filtering. Having done all of that, the pile is now ready for the next step. We version and tag the data. Each data set, after being filtered and pre-processed, receives a data card. The data card has the name and the version of the pile, specifies its content, and filters that have been applied to it.
Chào bạn, tôi biết là thời gian của bạn rất quý nên tôi sẽ đi thẳng vào vấn đề này. Tôi cần lời
And any other relevant content to make it easy to manage and track different choices that of the work and the right subsets of the data that we've used to develop the foundation models. Now, we can have multiple data piles. They coexist in .data, and access to different versions of data for different purpose is managed seamlessly. So we're now ready to take the pile and start training our model. This is step 2 in our AI workflow. So we move from .data to .ai and start by picking a model architecture from the 5 families that IBM provides. These are bedrock of models, and they range from encoder only, encoder-decoder, decoder only, and other novel architectures. So let's pick the encoder-decoder sandstone to train the model, and pick a target data pile version from the piles that is in .data. .ai allows training with computing resources across the hybrid cloud. .ai allows training with computing resources across the hybrid cloud. In this case, it runs on IBM Vela. Vela is a first-of-a-kind cloud-native AI supercomputer that we built last year. It gives you bare metal performance in the cloud with a virtualization overhead that is less than 5%. And we're making it available as a service. watsonx.ai autoscales the resources for the training being done. And the first thing that we need to do is to tokenize the data according to the requirements of the model. So we first query the data using the version ID for the pile we want to use. That materializes a copy of the data set on Vela for tokenization. What this means is that, for example, if we're building a large language model, the sentences in the data are broken into tokens, and this process can create trillions of them. And we use the tokens to train the model. Now, training is a very complex and time-consuming task. It can require dozens, hundreds, even thousands of GPUs, and can take days, weeks, and even months. Training in Watson.ai takes advantage of the best open source technology out there to simplify the user experience. Built on Codeflare, using PyTorch and Ray, it also integrates Hugging Face to bring you a rich variety of open formats. Once training is done, the model is ready for validation. So for each model we train, we run an extensive set of benchmarks to evaluate the model quality across a wide range of metrics. Once the model passes all the thresholds across the benchmarks, it is packaged and marked as ready for use. For each model, we create a model card that lists all the details of the model. We will have many different models, trained on different piles with different target goals. Next, we go to watsonx.governance to combine the data card that has the detailed provenance information for the data pile that was used for training with the model card that has the detailed information on how the model was trained and validated. Together, they form a fact sheet. This fact sheet is cataloged in .governance and all the other fact sheets for all the models that we have available for use. Now, let's go on to tune the model that we just created. And what we mean by that is to adapt it to new downstream tasks, which is the basis for the large
What exactly is Spark Labs?
We're AppLovin's in-house ad creative team. Spark Labs focuses on AI-enhanced.
This is WatsonX.ai. It's a generative AI platform built to push the boundaries of generative AI. This is WatsonX.ai. It's a generative AI platform built to push the boundaries of generative AI in a safe, secure, and trusted manner. With it, you can use state-of-the-art large language models, design, test, and manage your prompts, deploy LLM APIs, and fine-tune your own LLM models. But how exactly does this all work? I mean, generative AI is great and all, but wouldn't it be amazing if we could break it all down and explain the pieces of the puzzle to get you up to speed fast? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Give me 6 minutes. Ready? Start the timer. First up, models. Underpinning the generative AI phenomenon, we have a set of supersized machine learning models that can perform a range of tasks. They can generate text, images, video, audio, code, and more. These models have been trained on huge amounts of data to be able to perform well on a range of general purpose tasks. We'll call these models foundation models. Think of them as the base of a house. They're a great starting point and provide solid foundations. If you need them to perform better on specific tasks, though, we can pick up the model training where it left off, but with data that's aligned to what you need to do. This process is, but with data that's aligned. If you need them to perform better on specific tasks, though, we can pick up the model training where it left off, but with data that's aligned to what you need to do. This process is called fine-tuning. Using the house analogy, this is akin to adding in all the fixtures and designs you might like to have in your home. In practice, this could be fine-tuning the model to answer questions on your products, or having it write code in a proprietary language, or work with an internal API. Now, large language models fall under the foundation model umbrella. That's all well and good, but how exactly do we use them? This is where prompting comes in. Fundamentally, LLMs are consecutively predicting the next word in a sequence. The input sequence to an LLM is usually referred to as a prompt. It's what we're asking the model to do, be it a question. LLM is usually referred to as actively predicting the next word in a sequence. The input sequence to an LLM is usually referred to as a prompt. It's what we're asking the model to do, be it a question, a task, or an instruction. The year I finished university, I went on a huge trip to Europe. Now, it just so happens that one of the final destinations that I found myself in was Bulgaria. I was running a little late, and most of my friends had gone off to find a local pizza joint. Now, I don't know about you, but my Bulgarian ain't that sharp. Even after drawing pizza air pictures and performing speed charades to a few locals, I somehow found myself in their lounge room watching a talent show and eating dumplings. Getting the instructions right is important. Likewise, designing good prompts is critical to getting LLMs to perform well. This has led to the rise of prompt engineering. It's not really engineering in the traditional sense per se, but really more so focused on passing foundation model input instructions that it's going to understand. Prompts can range from simple questions or more sophisticated requests like few-shot prompts where you give the model a number of examples with expected outputs. Doing so has proven to improve the quality of the outputs that the LLM is able to produce. Great, so we can answer a bunch of questions by passing prompts to foundation models, but what if we wanted our model to answer questions based on a PDF or text document or some HTML? How would we go about doing that? This is where embeddings come in. I'm about to drop a bombshell. LLMs don't actually understand words. What they do understand is numbers. So what would happen if we could convert those CSVs, PDFs, and other text documents into a code that the LLM could understand? This is exactly how supercharged LLMs work. In fact, in practice, this is how we're able to perform searches across documents using LLMs without the overhead of fine-tuning the foundation model itself. We can take a PDF and convert it into an embedding. Think of this as just a big list of numbers which represent the text included in the original PDF. These embeddings can then be stored inside of a vector database, a specially designed database which can hold embeddings, which are usually represented as vectors. Some popular ones include ChromaDB, Pinecone, and Milvus. The embedding is used to represent an index to that specific document or segment of the document. We can then query the database by converting a prompt to an embedding, then finding the document with the closest match using it. The embedding is used to represent an index to that specific document or segment of the document. We can then query the database by converting a prompt to an embedding, then finding the document with the closest match using the documents embedding. Blending vector databases and LLMs opens up a wider range of use cases than using LLMs alone, and works particularly great when you have fast-changing data. So far, we've gone through foundation models, prompts, and embeddings, but it's starting to get a little complicated, no? So how do we connect all these pieces together? Well, this is where chains come in. There's been a bunch of open source development in the field of large large language models. LangChain, one of the most popular open source libraries, has been pivotal to helping drive the field forward. It's a Python and TypeScript library that helps you connect all the pieces of the LLM puzzle together. It allows you to chain together LLMs, including those from watsonx, perform prompt formatting, and leverage vector databases together with ease. Through it, you can format your prompts using prompt templates. You can also leverage chat memory, a similar technique to how ChatGPT works. This means that your foundation model session will have access to what you've previously said in the conversation. LangChain also gives you the ability to integrate foundation models into active environments using agents. This makes foundation models a lot more practical. Through it, you can give your LLM access to math tools, coding environments, and the web, opening up a whole new world of possibility for your use cases. And that is
This is too tight.
In just over 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how I created this ebook using a feature.
Effective conversation. Now, in the Watson Assistant product, we are responsibly infusing this LLM to complement human-authored dialogue flows while still providing strong control. I invite you all to learn more at the Watson Assistant pedestal over in that corner of the Think Forum room. But right now, I would like to show you how our vision for conversational AI all works. We're going to start with the data collection. Let's say of some sample HR policies. We're going to point our model at this collection and start a chat. Now, this chat is going to be on the topic of vacation, but it is using an example with our sample employee Alice that is drawn from my own personal experience. Alice has found out that her son's school is not going to suddenly have early dismissal on Wednesdays. And she's talked to her manager, and she says, I need to see if I can use my PTO to be able to deal with this situation. And her manager says, it's fine. You just have to check that policy is such that it allows you to take your time in half days. And so Alice goes to this chat. Virtual assistant lets her know, in answer to her
Why I love Envato Elements? I love that I don't have to animate my own texting conversations in After Effects.
Microsoft Excel is one of the most popular and powerful spreadsheet applications in existence. That's why, over the past few decades, millions of businesses, organizations, and individuals have relied on Excel to get insights about their data. Of course, to be able to get insights from your data, the barrier to entry is fairly high. To use Excel effectively, you need to know about formulas and functions, pivot tables, conditional formatting, and the list goes on and on. Of course, if you want to learn about those, you can check out my course right up above. Microsoft Excel is pushing the boundaries to make it even easier and quicker to use by introducing artificial intelligence, or AI. In this video, we're going to look at how you can use AI in Excel to get some incredible insights about your data. And best of all, you only need to know how to click on one button or how to ask the right question. Let's check this out. Here I am in Excel, and I have confidential sales data for the Kevin Cookie Company. If you'd like to follow along, I've included the data down below in the description. To analyze the data here, I could use formulas and functions, I could insert a pivot table, I could also apply conditional formatting, but all of that requires some knowledge of how to use Excel. Instead, let's go to the top tabs and make sure the one titled Home is selected. And all the way over on the right-hand side, it's somewhat tucked away, let's click on the button that says Analyze Data, and this opens up the Analyze Data pane. To expand it, you could click over here and you could drag it a little bigger. This way you could see it better. And this pane has so much power as long as you know how to ask the right question. Let's actually test this out. I'm interested in knowing how many units we sold per day across all of these different products. Using formulas and functions would take a little bit of time, but here I simply need to phrase my question. Here I'll say how many units sold per day, and I want to see it as a line chart. Here I'll press enter, and look at that. Here Excel automatically generates a chart for me that shows me the sales across all of these different products. And all I had to do was type in this one question. If I want to keep this view here, I'll simply double click on this chart, and that inserts a new pivot table and a chart showing me the answer to my question. As a pivot table and with a chart here, I can now modify these pivot table fields to get the view exactly how I want it. And if you want to learn more about how to use pivot tables, be sure to check out the video right up above. Instead of modifying the pivot table, I can also just go back to the original Analyze Data view, and I can modify my question. So
There's this new way to get AI in just about any app that you use. You can combine AI.
Hi, in this short video, I'm really excited to show you our new AI Analyst, essentially a new way to help you make sense, transform, and summarize your data sets. So let's say that you have here a table of data. In this case, it's a summary of marketing campaigns, but it could be something that you've imported from one of our iterations. It could be a CSV, it doesn't really matter. Now, in any table in rows, you will have this new icon, which is the AI Analyst, which is this number crunching sidekick that you can use 24/7 to help you make sense of the data. And as you call the analyst, three things will happen. So there's three different ways that will help you make sense of the data. The first thing is what we call quick insights. And quick insights are essentially giving you a high-level overview of what's happening in the data set, taking the most important variables from your table. So here, for this marketing campaign, it's telling us what the total spent was, what was the average CPC, the highest number of purchases, so things that are very relevant to the data set and that I probably want to know just looking at the data. And there's a few things that I can do with this. The first thing is I can copy the text. So if I'm then building a presentation, or if I'm building a report, I can just copy the text and have this for a quick summary of the analysis. But I can also copy the formula if I want to extend the analysis and create a new table, or if I just want to check what was the logic behind this KPI, I can calculate it here. The second thing is what we call deep dives. And deep dives are essentially pivot tables, summaries, and trends from the data set that just go one level below a top level analysis. So in this case, the deep dive that is suggested is campaign clicks and spend by date. If that's something that you want to follow up on, you can click here and insert the table. And then you see it inserted already the summary table of the clicks and spend per day for all of the campaigns. So something very relevant for this analysis as well. And I can actually come here and see what was the source of this. So I can see what formula generated this table. If I want, I can add it here as well. But most importantly, if the source data change, this will change as well. So this is now linked to the source table with the marketing campaign. And then there are all of these deep dives. If one of them is not really relevant, you can delete it, but then you can add as many as you want and compose your report as you go. So this is the second thing, the deep dives. And then what's really interesting as well is you can talk with your data set and ask questions. So it could be that I want to know what's the median number of clicks, for example. And in real time, we will analyze the data and reply. In this case, the assistant will give you a quick insight because it's just a single number that's coming from this short analysis, but it could be something deeper where the output is going to be a table. So I might be interested in what were the 3 best campaigns by total clicks, for example, right? So what campaigns performed the best in the number of clicks? You will be crunching the numbers and analyzing it, and you see that it added here top 3 campaigns by total clicks. I will insert it, and then you will see here the campaigns and then the sum of the clicks and just the top 3. So it automatically generated this. I didn't have to type any formula, do any pivot tables. It just does the work alongside me. And this is essentially it. We think it's a really powerful way for you to make sense of your data, summarizing it, and really take data analysis to the next step. We're really excited for anyone to test this. The AI Analyst is now available for everyone in all plans. So we're really excited to see what you build. Thank you, and good luck.
Oh my God.
ơi. Tú, đi ăn cơm.
Khá ra buồn. nó phải bị tại xem để bị con mẹ mày thấm được không, bị mẹ mày nó phong bổ như nào. Không phải á. Gái xinh thôi, tôi chỉ yêu gái xinh thôi. 10 minutes. Oh shit. Mày có thấy điều gì kỳ lạ không mà tao chưa thấy chỉ là xe của tao nữa. Fuck, it's true. I'm just gonna say it's true.
Anh Tuân, anh Tuân,
Nói gì đi?
đi rửa rác đi. Em gọi mà không trả lời.
Em có thể nói việc ngay sau đấy mà. Gọi tên
Ai
làm
biết
gì?
anh trước hay không? Em không đóng cửa à?
Anh đổ vào con này.
Hey Milos, with the Instagram posting, let's have a chat later today because I think I throw a lot of new things to you, and I want to have a chat with you and set you up. So can you talk at 3 p.m. my time today?
3 p.m. Oh shit, I missed it.
this lesson, I'm going to take you through choosing the right idea for your e-commerce brand. This is important because not every idea will be viable for an e-commerce business. And this is why in our first lesson, I asked you not to choose one idea to focus on yet, so that you don't become too attached to the idea before you do your research around whether it's the right idea for your brand. If you don't find this out now, you may find some problems a little later in the course that you mean you'll need to start again from scratch, and we definitely want to avoid that. What I don't want is for you to end up with an idea that's going to make things really hard for you. So I'll start with some of the things I did right and wrong with my brands. With that said, this lesson's not here to put you off or slow you down in any way. So all I want you to do is a quick check for some of your main ideas and don't go into too much research or detail yet. We'll come back to a lot of these topics later in the course. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to see which ideas you can keep on your list and which you might need to cross off or put in the too hard basket for now. So these are the questions that I ask myself when I'm evaluating whether my seemingly amazing light bulb moment of an idea is actually going to work for an e-commerce model. I've come up with these questions based on what I've done right and what I've done wrong in the past. So I'm really happy that I get to share these with you so that you can avoid some of the mistakes that I've made. So the questions that I ask myself to help me choose the right idea to go with are, is there a market for my product? Is there demand for my product, or is my product trending? And is my product viable for e-commerce? Is it relatively lightweight and easy to ship? Or is it extremely heavy, fragile, or even dangerous to ship? So let's start with my first question. Is there a market for my product? What I want you to begin to do here is start researching the market size of the industry you're looking to enter. This will be in terms of the revenue that this industry made as a whole in the previous year, or even back in terms of the revenue, searching the market size of the industry you're looking to enter. This will be in terms of the revenue that this industry made as a whole in the previous year, or even back a few years if no data is available. This is usually relatively easy to research by doing a quick Google search around your industry or product and should reveal how much revenue the market has made in the previous year or so. So for Skinny Me Tea, for example, I've done some searches around global market size of the tea industry, global market of the weight loss industry, and global market size of the detox industry, for example. If your product is a lot more niche or intended for one specific audience in particular, try to do some research around this as well. You might find it written about in articles or in industry reports. Just make sure that the sources are credible. Like I said, this should be a quick preliminary search to show you if your market size is large enough. So moving on to the next question, which was, is there demand for my product? Or ideally, is my product trending? A really easy place to take a quick look at this is via Google Trends, which identifies upward or downward trends in search volume for specific terms or products. Simply visit trends.google.com and enter a search term or product. You probably want to switch the search to worldwide and search over the last 5 years for some comparison, which you can do via the drop-down menus. If we take Skinny Me Tea, for example, we might want to begin with the term detox, and then we can even add other terms to compare like detox tea and weight loss tea. This can even help you choose the keywords that you can use to describe your product based off search demand for that term. Or maybe you're tossing up between some very different ideas for that term. Or maybe you're tossing up between some very different ideas like metal straws, keep cups, or reusable razors. You can compare all of these terms against each other and see if any really stand out from the rest. So we can see right now that the term metal straw is dominating keep cups and reusable razors. At the end of this, you might still choose to enter a less saturated market, but either way, now you know there's actual demand for your product and whether that demand is increasing or decreasing over time. There are a few more ways that you can research demand for your product, like keyword volume research and social media validation. Demand for your product, like keyword volume research and social media validation, but we'll get into these further in later lessons on validating your idea. Remember, right now we just want to skim the surface. Now we're moving on to what I see as our biggest make or break question. Is my product viable for e-commerce, or is it extremely heavy, fragile, regulated, or dangerous to ship? So the number one thing here that's going to determine whether your product's going to be viable for e-commerce or not is whether it's able to be shipped worldwide. It needs to not be too heavy, or your shipping will cost a lot. It needs to not be too breakable, or you'll be issuing a lot of refunds. And it needs to be able to be shipped in terms of regulations. Something to keep in mind here when it comes to shipping is that ultimately we want to be able to cover the cost of shipping into our product cost so that we're able to offer free shipping on the product, which will ultimately increase our conversion rate. A perfect example of a mistake I've made with one of my products is with Drop Bottle. Our drop bottles are made of thick glass, which makes them both breakable and heavy to ship, which means that we can't offer them at an accessible price point when selling online. So they need to be priced at the higher end luxury price point of over $40 per bottle, plus $5 shipping. Shipping our bottles to some countries from Australia costs over $20, so we need to keep stock in multiple locations, which would put a lot of pressure on us if we were first starting out. I know Foundr found this out the hard way for themselves with their first e-commerce product, which is a big, thick, heavy book. So try to find a product that's relatively lightweight and easy to ship. One more thing to take into account here is whether the product is regulated or even dangerous to ship. Items considered dangerous to ship include flammable products that contain some kinds of lithium batteries or aerosols. So if you think your product might fall into that category, I'd do some research at your local post office or online first. Regulated products are products that may or may not be allowed to be shipped into some regions. Skinny Me Tea is a good example of this because some of our active ingredients and the claims that we make around weight loss are actually regulated by the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia, or the TGA, which is a little like the FDA in the US. So we found out after starting that we needed to get TGA listed. I actually received a letter from the TGA saying that they could fine me up to $12 million, and I was scared out of my mind, of course. They could fine me up to $12 million, and I was scared. I received a letter from the TGA to get TGA listed. Skinny Me Tea is a good example of this because some of our active ingredients and the claims that we make around weight loss are actually regulated by the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia.
Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia.
Or the TGA, which is a little like the FDA in the US. So we found out after starting that we needed to get TGA listed. I actually received a letter from the TGA saying that they could fine me up to $12 million, and I was scared out of my mind, of course. We did end up getting TGA listed, but it was a really expensive and time-consuming process. So be careful if you're thinking about entering the health and wellness space. And want to make specific claims around your product. In fact, if this is your first product, I'd avoid the vitamin space, for example, entirely to avoid the headache, unless you have some experience in this space or a lot of capital to play with. I'd even begin by doing a quick Google search around your product idea to see if it's highly regulated or asking the question in the Facebook group. So now let's take our example of our reusable straw product idea from the last lesson into account here to see if it's viable for an e-commerce store. Is it relatively lightweight and easy to ship? Yes. Plus, it's reusable, so you'll only be needing to send 1 or 2 items at a time rather than in bulk. Is it breakable? Well, this would depend on what the straw is made of. There are 2 main kinds of reusable straws, glass and plastic. For e-commerce viability, let's stay away from glass as it's far more breakable. Plus, it could actually be quite a dangerous product if it was to break in somebody's mouth, for example. And is it a highly regulated or dangerous product to send? No. So a reusable straw is a viable e-commerce option.
Gì? Vãi cả lồn.
So as an action item for this lesson, I want you to fill out the worksheet to answer each of these questions for each of your 5 potential product ideas that you came up with in the previous lesson. Just a sentence or even one-word answer will do for each for now. This way, you'll be able to quickly see which of these ideas is viable for e-commerce. Then I want you to rank them from most to least viable and scrap the bottom 2 ideas so that you've only got 3 remaining before you start the next lesson. So go ahead, do that now, and I'll see you in the next lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how I go about creating products that are different and better than others on the market by focusing on developing our product's unique value proposition, or UVP. It's your UVP that sets you apart from other products on the market position, or UVP. It's your UVP that sets you apart from other products on the market. It's the what's in it for me in your product. A UVP is the promise that you make to your customers to deliver a unique and valuable experience. It's a clear, compelling message that states why you're different and worth buying. So it's important to have a UVP because it's what differentiates you from your market, and it's ultimately what will add more value to your customers' lives. It's what makes your product attractive to customers. And you can see that if you don't develop a UVP, then there's nothing to differentiate you from your target market or show how your product will ultimately add value to your customer after they purchase. You'll look exactly the same as other products, and you won't stand out amongst the sea of other options on the market. You're just going to be competing with players who already probably have more capital, more customers, and better exposure than you. So it's your UVP that sets you apart from your competition. And I'm highly confident that the main reason that the Fifth achieved the success that it did was because of our point of difference. At the Fifth, we took an extremely saturated market, which is the watch market, that had a lot of startups and heritage brand key players, and adopted a UVP that set us apart from all of the existing competition. Our UVP was that we'd only sell our watches on the 5th day of each month for 5 days. In this way, we were able to be unique based on time rather than price, whereas a lot of other fashion and accessory companies gain their exclusivity from having a high price tag. So you can see this was one thing where we were able to instantly separate ourselves from our competition. So before we get started on how we come up with our UVP, I want to make something very clear to you. There's a misconception in e-commerce that you need a crazy new product idea to be successful. Something so out of the box that it needs to be patented. It's a top secret that nobody can possibly know about until you launch, and bang, instant success. This is not true at all, and actually a lot of the most successful e-commerce brands are the ones that have taken existing problems and solved them in a different way. It's as simple as that. So what's important to note here is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So now that we've scrapped that misconception from our minds, I can show you exactly how I go about creating products that are different and better than others on the market by finding our product's UVP. And this is what I refer to as my product innovation framework. And the underlying thesis of my product innovation framework is that by simply changing a single dimension or one part of a product, you can find your UVP. Let me break this down for you. So there are 4 main dimensions that I look at changing and playing with in my product innovation framework. And these are my product's design, function, price, and time. Now let's go into some more examples and detail on each dimension. I'm going to use 3 very different examples to highlight how my product innovation framework can be used to make any product different and better. So let's take our mobile phone case for example and look at how you can make it different and better by changing the product's design. 2 big trends in design that aren't going anywhere anytime soon are customization and personalization. While there's a difference between the 2, they pretty much seek to achieve the same goal, a product experience that's tailored to your customer's interests. The difference between the 2 is that customization is based on a specific customer and personalization is dependent on a customer group. An example of customization would be monogramming or engraving a customer's initials onto your product. For example, in the case of the Daily Edited in Australia or Away luggage in the US. Whereas a daily engraving a customer's an example of customization would be monogramming or engraving a customer's initials onto your product. For example, in the case of the Daily Edited in Australia or Away luggage in the US. Whereas a great example of personalisation would be the Share a Coke with Coca-Cola campaign, whereby they use common names like Lauren, Dean, Sophie or Mark and Jim campaign, whereby the example of personalisation would be the Share a Coke with Coca-Cola campaign, whereby they use common names like Lauren, Dean, Sophie or Mark and generic nouns like mum, dad, nan, or even champ or mate. Another example from a startup brand is the luxury drink bottle brand in Australia, I Am Sweet, who have different bottles personalised with 4 different word options on their bottles for customers to choose from. So they're chic, zen, fierce or focus. This helps your target customer profile themselves and represent their unique personality through your product. Next lesson, I'm going to show you how to find your target audience using customer personas. So keep in mind how you could personalise your product for your personas, but I'll remind you of that at the time. So if we think of our mobile phone case or reusable straw concept, both of these products lend themselves to personalisation and customisation. For example, each straw could be engraved with your customer's initials, and that would be an example of customisation. This would make the product feel more like their own and could also be a great way not to get your straws mixed up with others around the house or office, for example. And the Daily Edited has some great examples when it comes to customisation of mobile phone cases. A word of warning on customisation though, I'm sure that you can imagine that customisation is a lot harder to achieve than personalisation, as it's on a customer by customer basis and requires additional tech for both your website and manufacturing processes. Australian brand Shoes of Prey was centred around mass customisation in the shoe space, and it actually went out of business recently even after raising $30 million in investor funding. So personalisation will likely be easier to go with to begin with, and unless your entire brand is going to be centred around it, customisation might be an idea to put to the side for now. We could use the I Am Sweet personalisation example with our mobile phone case or reusable straw, for example, based off your audience's interests. So now we want to consider how we can add value and create a point of difference in our product through the materials that we choose to make our product from. Of course, we want to use high quality, durable materials in creating our product, but something else that you might want to consider here is sustainability. Sustainability, or eco-friendly design, can create an entire UVP in itself for your brand. Let's take our mobile phone case for example here. You might want to create a mobile phone case that's made of upcycled ocean plastic or from compostable or biodegradable materials like Pellicase. If you're looking into ocean plastic, I'd check out the brand Parley and some of their amazing partnerships with brands like Adidas. Our metal straw already meets the sustainability criteria, being made out of metal as opposed to plastic, so you can just focus in on some different colorways, especially trending ones like rose gold, matte black or chrome. So you can see that just by changing that single dimension of your product, its design, how we're able to start creating something different to and better than other products on the market. So now let's move into arguably the most powerful dimension of your product that you have to play with, the function of your product or how your product works. Changing, adding, or even subtracting functionality from a product should always add value, and to do this, the best way is by solving an existing customer pain point with your product. A product pain point is a functionality from a product should always add value, and to do this, subtracting functionality from a product should always add value. Adding or even subtracting functionality from a powerful dimension of your product that you have to play with, the function of your product or how your product works. Changing, adding, or even subtracting functionality from a product should always add value, and to do this, the best way is by solving an existing customer pain point with your product. A product pain point is a specific problem your prospective customers are experiencing with a product that's their existing product solution. So what you want to do here is look at your product and identify some of the existing pain points with the product as it is now. Think about what your product's currently used for, the problems of this, and how they could be improved upon. A really good way to do some research around this is to read the negative reviews of similar products on Amazon or review websites like Trustpilot. Ignore the one-star reviews, as they'll just be people who have had an unusually bad experience. Instead, look at the 2 and 3 star ratings in particular. I did an Instagram post that resonated really well with my audience, and I said, want to know how to come up with a new product idea? Read the negative reviews of a popular product, find the most common and fix them. That's some food for thought, and it's another approach that you can take when thinking about how to add value to your product. So now let's get back to changing the functionality of our reusable straw to solve an existing pain point. So the first couple of things that come to mind as pain points with reusable straws are cleanliness. You don't want a straw just floating around in your bag all day, and the awkward shape of a straw to carry around with you. So a functional solution to these pain points could be designing a straw that's retractable and able to be folded down and fit in a small case, maybe the size of a matchbox or so. And in turn, this case would help protect your straw from dirt. So maybe even making the case from something antibacterial like copper. So let's use our mobile phone case for example here. I've found 3 different product pain points with mobile phone cases and 3 different brands that are solving these in a unique way. And all of these relate to selfies in one way or another, which is only one potential use of a mobile phone. So the first pain point is dropping your phone while taking a selfie, for example. And a brand that's solving this is called Love Handle, that sells a phone while taking a selfie, for example. And a brand that's solving this is called Love Handle, that sells attachable handles to stick onto the back of your mobile phone, which you can slip 2 fingers through for extra support. Another pain point could be bad lighting for your selfies. Lumi has solved this pain point by creating a mobile phone case that has an inbuilt selfie light. And our final selfie pain point is needing one or both your hands to take a selfie. Goat Case has solved this by creating a mobile phone case that can stick to almost any surface. Goat Case selfie pain point is needing one or both your hands to take a selfie. Goat Case has solved this by creating a mobile phone case that can stick to almost any surface. So you can see that simply by looking at one use of your product, you can change the functionality in multiple ways. We can also think about how you might combine the functionality of your product with the functionality of another product entirely, and I call this product hybridization. For example, the Lumi case, which is a selfie light, this product with the functionality of another product entirely. Change the functionality in multiple ways. We can also think about how you might combine the functionality of your product with the functionality of another product entirely, and I call this product hybridization. For example, the Lumi case, which is a selfie light crossed with a mobile phone case, or your mobile phone case could contain a mirror or a quick fix makeup kit, or it could even connect via an app on your phone that lights up when you need to return a call, for example. That one would be a little more complicated, but you get the idea. So think about some ways that you could change the functionality of your product by combining it with another product. I know this is fun, just don't go too crazy. Keep it relevant. Nobody wants a lawnmower that doubles as a baby pram, for example. So now nobody wants a lawnmower that doubles as a baby pram, for example. So now you can begin to understand the huge number of ways that you can change a product's functionality to add value and differentiate yourself.
Hey Milos, to help you do your job well, it's best that we talk. So if you could please organize so we can meet tomorrow, 3 p.m. my time, that would be great. Also, I don't know if Grandma would be able to help with your university fee. And